Welcome to Nerd Sports. Today we're going to talk about how Zuckerberg ended up losing his phone, so he shut down a big portion of social media.
I thought it was his girlfriend wanting to go into his phone, so he shut down everything so she couldn't look at his messages.
His wife, girlfriend, whatever.
Wife, girlfriend. Well, the richer they are, the weirder their kinks are. I don't know. Anyways, you said it, not me. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Last night. Okay, so first and foremost, I need to get this out of the way. Go Red Sox. Okay. Last night, dude, the weekend was just crazy. It was, the end of the regular season was on Sunday. Everybody's games started within 20 minutes of each other. And, man, I'm telling you, dude, it was nuts. Boston needed to win to secure the number one seed. They needed basically win and you're in for the wild card game. New York had to do the same thing. New York had to play Tampa Bay for the last series of the regular season. So going into Sunday, they had already lost 2 out of that 3. There was a potential.
So are they still in the pennant race with that?
What, the Yankees?
No.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
No, the Red Sox. Yeah, I'm getting to that. So, okay. So there was a potential for a 4-way tie for the wild card. But what needed to happen was both Boston and New York lose. Toronto would have needed to have won, and Seattle would have needed to have won. Now, Seattle, they didn't win. They got thumped by the Angels. Toronto was playing the Orioles, so that was kind of a foregone conclusion that they were going to win that game. And so New York went in all the way to the bottom of the 9th because they were hosting the Rays. And the Rays had been outplaying them the whole series. But for whatever reason, the Rays offense just couldn't push any runs across. So it was tied 0-0 going all the way into the bottom of the 9th. And then Aaron Judge just kind of, gets a walk-off single. Yankees win that game 1-0. So they secured the second wild card spot. Boston beat the Nationals. They ended up sweeping the Nationals over the weekend. And they secured the number one seed. Even though New York and Boston had identical win-loss records, Boston had the tiebreaker because they won the season series 10-9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Boston had the advantage over New York. So Boston was going to host the wild card game Tuesday night, which was last night. And you and I were supposed to meet and we were supposed to shoot in the studio. And I'm going to be completely transparent here. I was going to be incredibly distracted. You could have been talking about green men having interracial orgies on the moon. And I would have been like, yeah. Hey, the Red Sox just scored, I would have been that way because, it would have been, we could have just basically gotten away with live streaming the game and done a commentary that way. But,
see, if I can figure out how to do that, we should try to do that.
We should. But going into the game last night, I had, my lucky David Ortiz jersey on. I had all my Red Sox gear out. I was just, I was decked out for the game. It's a superstition thing. And I introduced my girlfriend to playoff baseball Johnny. She met Winter Johnny. So she met Winter Johnny before, after the baseball season was over. And then she got to meet spring training Johnny, spring Johnny, where he was like getting ramped up for baseball. And then she knew spring, summer, and fall Johnny, which was during the baseball season. So I'm like, hey, what's my Red Sox doing? This. It's basically just kind of like the Cliff Notes version of Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon. Anyways, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I like it, but I'm a little biased. Anyways, digress. So she got to meet playoff baseball Johnny last night. So I was like, I FaceTimed her and I was like, hey, I want you to meet somebody. I want to introduce you to somebody. She goes, what? I just got out of the shower and I'm not presentable. I was like, so? She goes, right now? I said, right now. I want you to meet playoff baseball Johnny. She goes, oh, okay. You're playoff baseball. I was like, yes. Okay. So we got that out of the way. Anyways, so last night, everybody, all the pundits, all the experts were like, okay, advantage to the Yankees. The Yankees are on a roll. They owned the Red Sox last time they played there. They swept them in that series. Blah 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 blah. Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, they're on a roll. They're hot, and it's like whatever. So they get everybody with the save, like like a couple of people from ESPN were giving the game basically to the Yankees. They had all but punched the Yankees tickets to go to the divisional series to play against Tampa Bay. So game starts. You've got Garrett Cole, which is the $232 million pitcher for the Yankees, starting for this wild card game. He was brought into New York for one reason, and it is these high leverage games, specifically against the Red Sox in the playoffs. Okay. So, here helps if my magic mouse is right side up. There we go. Yeah, look at me figuring out technology. See, look at it. Oh, pretty. Oh, a smoothie. And you weren't looking, but it's okay. So, and then on the other side of it, we've got Nathan Eovaldi. He's been pretty stellar for most of the season, included the second half, except for like the last couple starts, specifically the one where he pitched against the Yankees, but the humidity was up and it was muggy. He couldn't really grip the ball well, so he wasn't locating his pitches, and he gave up 7 runs in like a few innings. But game time temperatures were in the 40s. Like they were in the 50s, 40s. So it was a cool evening. It wasn't muggy. The humidity was really low. It just kind of like your stereotypical October New England evening. And so they get out there, and no, that's not what I want. It is, let me pull up scores. I'm gonna get the box score here real quick. Give me just a second, because I really want to break this down. Nathan Eovaldi, he pitched 5 1/3 innings. So he pitched 5 innings and then recorded an out in the 6th. So they break when you're talking about how far a pitcher goes in the game, you either see like a full number or you see like a decimal points, 1, 2, or 3, right? Or a 1 or 2, right? So when they say that he pitched 5 1/3 innings, that means he pitched 5 innings plus 1 out in the 6th inning. Okay. He gave up 4 hits, gave up 1 earned run. He walked nobody, struck out 8, and his only earned run was a home run. Okay. That he gave up to, I believe it was Anthony Rizzo, right, the first baseman for New York.
Okay.
Now, giving up no walks is a big thing, because the Yankees, whenever they do things, whenever they get when they get a rally started, it's usually because it's been preceded by walks. Like they get somebody on base, and then they start to move that person over either through base hits or home runs or what have you, right? Out of the 5, out of the 5 pitchers that Boston used last night, nobody issued a single walk. Ryan Brazier, Wichita Falls' own Ryan Brazier, he didn't strike anybody out last night. He gave up 1 hit. He pitched 2/3 of an inning, so he made it through the 6th inning. He got us to the 7th inning, which is great, but he didn't give up any runs. Tanner Houck, he's usually a starter, but he came in from the bullpen because it was all hands on deck last night, right? He pitched a full inning and struck out 2. Hanson Robles, he pitched a full inning. He struck out one batter, didn't give up any hits, didn't walk anybody. Garrett Whitlock comes in, gives up a home run to Giancarlo Stanton, who I'll get into in just a second. It was beautiful to watch the Yankees melt down the way that they did last night. But the bottom line, they didn't walk anybody. So all of the runs, both runs that the Yankees scored last night were because of the long ball. Now, on the flip side of the box score, you got Garrett Cole. Remember the $232 million man here, right?
Yeah.
Grew up a Yankees fan, getting to play for his childhood team. And he goes out, he pitches 2 innings. $232 million to pitch 2 innings in the one game that mattered.
Holy shit.
Now, granted, it's like a 9-year contract or some shit, right?
Yeah.
He gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, walked 2 batters, only struck out 3, and gave up 2 home runs. Right? And then it got progressively worse after that. Clay Holmes came in, pitched 2 innings. He gave up a hit, no runs, no earned runs. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 1 guy. Luis Severino came in. He pitched an inning and a third. He gave up a home run, or he gave up a hit, 1 earned run, walked a batter, and struck out 1. Loaiza, I don't know pronounce this guy's name. He's probably not gonna. He's not gonna be. He probably won't be with the big club next year. Let's just put it that way. He'll be probably back down in like Scranton playing for the AAA team. Anyway, he pitched an inning.
That's the guy
night.
that got $200 to play, or
no, you talking about the $232 million man?
Yeah.
Garrett Cole. Yeah, he's going to be with the team for a long time because they have this big contract and nobody's going to want to eat it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so good job on that one. But the final score last night was 6-2 Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I find amazing is that you had all these Yankees fans and all these trolls from all over the internet was talking about how Boston needs to increase the height of the green monster in left field because Giancarlo Stanton was just abusing the shit out of it the last time that they were there.
Mm.
Well, last night, he gets a good pitch to hit. He drives it. John Sterling does the play-by-play for the Yankees network.
Okay.
He goes into his home run call, right? It is high. It is long. It is far. It is a home run, right? He starts talking about it's a stanchion home run. Well, only problem with that is that the ball fell short, skipped off the front of the wall, and came back into play.
Yeah.
So basically what it had amounted to is that Giancarlo Stanton hit a 350-foot single.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, see, on that play, or no, it was the second one that he did this on. He gets a second pitch to drive. Ryan Brazier's in the game, right? He pitches. Giancarlo Stanton drives this to the deepest part of the park, basically. Hits a 400-foot single because it hits just below the yellow line. The yellow line designates what's fair or what's in play and what's a home run, right? So he hits about a foot below the yellow line. The ball comes back onto the infield or into the outfield, right? Aaron Judge is on first base. And he is hauling ass around second base. And the third base coach for New York sends Aaron Judge, thinking, okay, this is going to be a pretty easy play to score on. For all intents and purposes, it should have been. It was a 400-foot single, right? Problem is that Kiki Hernandez comes in, fields the ball, throws an absolute strike to Xander Bogaerts, who is standing in the relay position for shortstop in the infield, right? Xander Bogaerts turns around and unleashes an unholy hellfire missile back to the catcher. Aaron Judge is coming around and he starts his slide. Our catcher, who was Christian Vasquez at that time, turns around and tags Aaron Judge by a good foot and a half, and he is called out. Play at the plate, right? Look up the video, dude. It is a glorious thing. I am jumping up and down, screaming, yelling. I'm like, get him, get him, get him. And then when they called him out, I am like, fuck yeah. I mean, I yelled that shit. And everybody's like, I take it something good happened. Like, yeah, well, no kidding. Yeah, something happened. But it was just a series of miscues, and just, everybody wants to talk about how the Yankees, and when they lose, they really beat themselves. No, they got outclassed last night. They got outplayed. They got outpitched, and they got outhit. Pure, plain and simple. They lost every facet of the game last night, hands down. And when you look at it, it's like, okay, so New York goes and makes all these moves in the offseason, and make all these moves at the trade deadline, and they're supposed to be, quote unquote, the team to beat in the East. And hell, they're supposed to be the team to beat in the American League. They've got the highest payroll. Meanwhile,
they don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah, you got Tampa Bay, who won the division again this year. They've got the fourth lowest payroll in baseball again. So, Tampa Bay's doing it right. Meanwhile, Boston was picked to maybe finish 500 on the year, maybe a couple of games over, but they were nowhere even considered a playoff caliber team. But yeah, here we are. They played their asses off. They stayed in first place in the division for most of the year. And then they hit that slump right after the All-Star break. Towards the trade deadline, they were slumping really bad. So, and then pitching was starting to fall off, and but you get a group of guys that you got a lot of veterans still on the team from the 2018 season when they won the World Series. You got JD Martinez, you got Rafael Devers, you got Xander Bogaerts, you've got Ryan Brazier, you got Chris Sale, you got Eduardo Rodriguez, you got Christian Vasquez. I mean, a lot of the guys that played on the 18 squad are playing still for the Red Sox. So, I mean, you got a lot of that World Series experience. You got a lot of that World Champion experience. You got a lot of playoff experience. And then you got a lot of guys who have playoff experience and World Series experience, like Kiki Hernandez and Kyle Schwarber, who played on World Series teams for other teams, like the Dodgers. And Kyle Schwarber comes over to us. He played for the Cubs when they won everything in 2016, but we got him in a trade at the trade deadline from the Washington Nationals. But so you got a lot of moving parts, but you've got a lot of experience, and you've got these rookies that are in there, that have never been in a playoff situation, that never have experienced a playoff atmosphere. So, you get New York. I mean, they were like, okay, yeah, we're the second seed, but we want Boston. We want Boston in their house. And last night after the game, Kiki Hernandez was being interviewed in the locker room. Actually, he was being interviewed out on the field. He was like, they wanted us, they got us, but you know what they say? Be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. And last night, I mean, dude, it was great. I mean, it was absolutely great to see. The only thing that I saw as far as like a misstep or a miscue by the Red Sox was a base running error, and that was by Alex Verdugo, one of our outfielders. He was trying to stretch a single into a double, but I mean, by the time he got tagged out, we already had two runners score on the play, and he was the third out. So the way that the rule works is that if you're going to be the third out and a run scores before you are tagged, then the run counts. So the damage had already been done. Two runs had already scored. At that point, the score was like 6-1, and so it really kind of gave us those insurance runs that we were needing to go into the 8th and 9th innings. And so it just really, we started counting outs, because once Nathan Eovaldi was pulled out of the game in the 6th inning, you're looking at 2, 5, 8, like 11 outs. The bullpen was being asked to get 11 outs, which for the majority of the year has kind of really been their weakness. Getting those outs without giving up a lot of runs. Pitch command was really a premium for our bullpen this year. But last night in that game, when it mattered the most, in a winner take all play, winner go home scenario, the bullpen really stepped up. They really, really answered the call. And, I could sit here and talk about how I'm proud of the guys, I'm proud of this squad, I'm proud of this team. But, usually those are types of speeches and those types of words that are reserved for people like the managers, because Alex Cora, and admittedly, as a member of Red Sox Nation, I have given this guy more than my fair share of grief and heartache over the course of the year, just because of the way he was managing the bullpen, leaving pitchers in too long or taking pitchers out too soon, that kind of a thing. Or just making.
But it's also one of those things that when a manager does that, though, you can't really. I mean, as a fan, you can see the players. It's like, oh, you should have kept him in. He's got a couple more. He knows him more.
Yeah, I mean, because they're with him. I mean, from the beginning of spring training all the way through, and so I mean, I find myself being. I find myself guilty a lot of just being that Monday morning quarterback fan where I'm like, hey, look, I from the other side of my TV screen from across the country, I can sit there and be like, what the hell are you doing, you Nimrod? And I can sit there and yell obscenities at the screen and weave a blanket of cuss words that hangs over, over our town for months and years. But, at the end of the day, this is what this guy is paid to do. And when he was interviewed, his post-game comments, Alex Cora, our manager, he came out and said that last night's game was one of the hardest games he's ever had to manage. And because we didn't have one of our better hitters, JD Martinez, because he twisted his ankle on like a freak thing during the last game of the season on Sunday. And so, he had to balance the lineup. And he went with a defensive, with a more defensive-minded lineup. And these guys they came to play. And they put up a lot of runs. And they got to the ace. They got to New York's ace early. Chased him. I mean, like I said, he only pitched 2 innings. He only recorded 6 outs. That is it, 6. And just Aaron Boone comes in there and he's like, I've seen enough of this. I can't sit there and screw around because at the end of the day, it might be Aaron Boone that loses his job.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in New York that don't like the guy as a manager anyway. And, I've gone over this before in previous episodes where New York is a really hard place to play because of the media, because of the fan base. And the newspapers alone are going to eat you alive. We're not even getting into social media, but the newspapers alone will absolutely eat you alive. The New York Post, usually they reserve their headlines to roast the Red Sox or whatever team that the Yankees happen to be playing. Well, this morning when they came out with their morning edition, had a picture of Garrett Cole, and it says Garrett bleeping Cole.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
they I guess they weren't happy.
No, I mean they are throwing anybody and everybody under the bus, to include Aaron Judge. It's like, I mean, he's going off of what the third base coach was telling him, but you're a professional player. It's not your rookie season. Be aware where the ball is. I mean, you can hold up, but and then don't get me started on the ESPN broadcast. I mean, the broadcast itself was fine, but there are 2 people in this world that I just absolutely do not like calling a ball game. First one is Joe Buck from Fox. I cannot stand listening to that man dribble on. Second one is Alex Rodriguez. The same Alex Rodriguez that, yes, in fact, played for the Yankees. He's on the ESPN Baseball Tonight crew. So, he's in the booth calling games. And he was just so blatantly pro-Yankee. It's not even funny. I mean, he wasn't even trying to hide it last night. And he just talked. He's like, I know that they're struggling right now, but at some point the Yankees are going to start being the Yankees again, and they'll be fine. And it's just like, see, when you want, I get, like, when I listen to the Red Sox games on the radio, their play-by-play guys, yeah, obviously they're going to show favoritism, but they're not homers. And by homers, what I mean is that they don't just sit there and sugarcoat it for the home team. If they're screwing up, they're going to be like, why did he do that? That was probably one of the worst decisions that I've ever seen. And Joe Castiglione, he's one of the words that I absolutely hate. Like, some people can't stand the word moist. I don't like the word squander. And it doesn't like send chills up and down my back, but usually I associate that word now with whenever Joe Castiglione is talking about, and the Red Sox squander a bases loaded opportunity, or they squander runners in scoring position to, this, that. And to me, it's a negative word. And I'm just like, so squander is like kind of my version of moist, but, but last night was an absolute, and it wasn't even because the Red Sox won. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that the Red Sox won. I'm ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic that the Red Sox eliminated the Yankees. But the game itself, from the Red Sox standpoint, executed beautifully. They came together as a team. Everybody came to work that night, and everybody came to work ready to do exactly that, which was work. And they did. They answered the call, and they rang the bell. And when they did it, they really put it to the New York Yankees. They had their hitters off balance most of the night. The fielding, for the most part, was absolutely gorgeous. It was just because, you look at it, I'm just sitting there going, this is what October baseball is supposed to be about. High intensity, high leverage situations. Everything is on the line. And so now Boston's moving on to the divisional series, and they're going to be playing Tampa in that best of 5 series. So for that, it's Eduardo Rodriguez is going to get the nod for game 1. So it's as long as Erod shows up and he brings his A game, I think we're going to be fine for at least game 1. As far as who the starters are going to be.
So is the Yankees out of the pennant race?
Yeah. The Yankees are done.
Oh, okay.
The wild card game is a play-in game, basically, to get into the postseason.
Oh, okay. So the Red Sox won. So they're in
doing that a few years ago to kind of like include more teams to give the smaller market teams an opportunity to experience playoff baseball, to give those fans an opportunity to go to the stadium during the month of October.
Yeah.
Last night it was just absolutely lights out. And in fact, if you go to redsox.com and on the right hand column, there's a link that says Red Sox nab Judge at plate and key sequence, and you'll be able to see the video replay of that whole relay. Dude, glorious. Absolutely.
So glorious. The playoff bracket's going to be Tampa Bay, or not? Is that?
Yeah, it's Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, Red Sox, White Sox, Houston, San Francisco, and the wild card game for the Dodgers.
The League is playing their wild card game tonight.
Yeah, and the A's and the Brewers.
No.
What's the one with just the glove?
Oh, the Atlanta Braves. A stands for Atlanta.
What?
The Braves, the Atlanta Braves.
God. I was looking at that. I was like, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing the further continuing education of David Dickerman. But no, okay.
So the baseball glove is not the Brewers?
Yeah, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay, so
You said
the
the
A's
A's.
is okay.
Yeah, the
So
A's.
my
The
baseball knowledge is still
hey,
it's
hey,
pictures and
we're
names I
working
can
it.
get.
Now, as of right now, it's the bottom of the third, and St. Louis has got a 1-0 lead over the Dodgers. Um, so Max Scherzer apparently got chased out of the game um, early tonight, which Max Scherzer was brought to the Dodgers via the trade deadline specifically for an October run. And, you
Is
know,
he screwing the pooch again?
I'm not going to say that it's the first time that Max Scherzer has screwed the pooch in the postseason, because when he played for Detroit during the 2013 American League Championship Series, the ALCS in 2013, they played against Boston, and we touched him up pretty violently. So now he did shine whenever he was in Washington playing for the Nationals during their 2019 World Series team. But yeah, so as soon as we find out who's going to win the game tonight between St. Louis and Los Angeles, the winner of that wild card game is going to go to San Francisco to play in the divisional series. And then the Brewers, who are the second seed, are going to play the third seed Atlanta Braves in their divisional series. So the winners of the divisional series go to the league championship series. So whether it be the ALCS for the American League or the NLCS for the National League, then that's basically the Final Four. So whoever wins the league championship pennants are going to advance to the World Series. So it's going to be the American League versus the National League for the World Series title. And there's a lot of people that have some people have the Tampa Bay Rays winning it all this year. Some people have the Chicago White Sox, of all people, going. I don't see a lot of respect being thrown towards the Houston Astros, because everybody seems to have forgotten about the Astros. The Astros won the American League West, and they're the number 2 seed in the American League. And
Without
whether
cheating.
or not I like the Astros, whether or not I think they're playing fair, it's completely irrelevant. They're playing great baseball at the right time, and they're going to be tough to beat. If Chicago can manage to pull that off and beat the Astros in their divisional series to advance to the ALCS, and and Boston can manage to get around Tampa Bay, that's no short order. I mean, that is a tall task.
Yeah,
right
because
there.
they're number one in the league. Period.
Yeah, they've got the second best record in baseball, behind the Giants. Like the Giants had like 105 wins.
What's the team that's trying to beat the A's record for most?
The Cardinals. Yeah, they won 17 in a row before they lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, they had a monumental run right there at the end of the regular season, and they basically put a chokehold on the number 1 seed for that wild card game. Or no, they put a chokehold basically on the wild card, on a playoff berth. But by virtue of the fact that Los Angeles had a better record than the Cardinals, they were ranked the number 4 seed, so they got to host the wild card game tonight. But
I know.
Or no, wait, I had that backwards. No, the Cardinals are playing at home tonight. So yeah.
Hold on real quick. I'll be right back.
No. Yeah, okay, sure. But anyways, for those of you who are still watching, that was an amazing game to watch last night. And we're going to talk about baseball for just a couple more minutes, and then once David gets back, and then we're going to break into football and call it a night, because I'm hungry. So I haven't eaten dinner yet tonight. So as you can tell, I'm eating junk food while I'm sitting here trying to record. And I see a shadow. There's David. Aha. Okay. So,
yeah. Sorry, people. I've been sick all day, so.
Which is why we're doing it via Zoom.
Yeah.
I am not about that life trying to catch what this dude's trying to throw at me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's my boy, but yeah, no, I ain't. No, that's just not happening. Um, but yeah, this postseason, I think it's going to be one of the better postseasons that I can remember for a very long time. Um, and even if the Red Sox manage to find themselves on the outside looking in, and they lose to either the Rays or whoever eventually comes to them in the ALCS, um, it's going to be an interesting postseason to watch. It's and the entertainment value has been ratcheted up tenfold just simply due to the fact that the New York Yankees are no longer in the playoffs. So um, there was a ton of 27 rings tweets and Facebook posts today, but that's what your stereotypical Yankees fan base does every time they lose. They fall back on that. Well, we have 27 rings. Well, that's great, but how many do you possess, and how many rings has your team won since 2000? So, I mean, really, quit yapping. Just hang your pinstripes up in the closet until spring and just go away. But in all seriousness, I mean, eh, it's going to be a really fun postseason to watch.
When's the next game coming up?
Well, like I said, the Cardinals and the Dodgers.
Well, except for the Cardinals and everything, how is the gameplay like? Is like one day that these teams play and then the next team, or is it going to be like?
Tonight, like I said, so with the National League playing their wild card game tonight, they're going to get a night off, and the divisional series for them will start on Friday. Tomorrow or tonight, the American League is off, and so they're going to kind of do like a double feature kind of a thing, where the Astros and the White Sox, they're going to play their game in the early afternoon, and then the primetime game is going to be Boston and Tampa Bay. And then they may flip flop that or whatever, but the National League probably isn't going to start their divisional series until Friday. Let me double check that here. Postseason schedule. Complete schedule. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, tomorrow night it's going to be a 4:07. Let's see, all these Eastern? Yeah, okay, so it's going to be 4:07 Eastern, 3:07 Central, for Houston and Chicago. That series is going to start in Houston because Houston, like I said, is the number 2 seed. So that series is going to be started down in Houston at 3:07 our time, and then Boston and Tampa Bay. It's going to be an Eastern. It's going to be played in Tampa, but that game starts at 7:07 our time. And then the National League, they start their game 1 of their division series between Atlanta and Milwaukee at 3:37, and then the winner of the wild card game tonight plays the Giants at 8:37 our time. Friday is going to be a very busy day of baseball. There are going to be 4 games on slate. It's going to be American League Divisional Series game number 2 for both sets. Chicago and Houston, they start at 1:07 our time on Friday afternoon. The Braves in Milwaukee start at 3:37. Boston, Tampa Bay start at 6:02, and then like I said, the wild card winner plus San Francisco, they're going to start at 8:37 on Friday night. Saturday, the American League's going to get the day off because it's going to be considered a travel day because it's a best of 5 series. So they're going to play 2 games at the top seed team park, and then they're going to move to the lower seed park. So Saturday is going to be a travel day for the American League. Game 2 of both divisional series for the National League, it's going to be Atlanta, Milwaukee at 4:07, and then wild card winner San Francisco at 8:07. Then those two, then the National League's going to have Sunday off. They're going to travel on Sunday, and the American League's going to have their game threes. Boston's going to play the early game at 3:07, and Houston Chicago is going to start at 7:07. And then Monday's going to be another busy day, 4 games. And then, if necessary, game fours, game 4 for both divisional series in the National League will be played Tuesday. If necessary, game 5 will be played for the American League on Wednesday.
So after next week, we should know who's going to be the top players.
After next week, we're going to know who's going to be playing for the league championship series for both leagues.
Okay.
And then the national or the ALCS is supposed to start on Friday the 15th. And the National Leagues or the NLCS is supposed to start on Saturday, October 16th. Those times, they haven't determined what times those games are going to start yet. But the World Series is supposed to tentatively start Tuesday, October 26th. And Game 7, if necessary, of the World Series will be played Wednesday, November 3rd. Now, that's going to be kind of cool because, as I've stated before, I'm going to Boston with my girlfriend the first week of November, right? So if Boston can pull off a World Series victory, we could tentatively be in the city of Boston for a potential World Series champion duck boat parade.
That's awesome.
Dude, that I would lose my fucking mind. You know, I mean, just to be around, just to be in the heart of Red Sox Nation celebrating a World Series championship. Dude, I've never seen in person the Commissioner's Trophy that they give out to the team who wins the World Series. But when I go to do my Fenway Park tour, you better damn believe that I'm going to go look at them. I'm going to be right there. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm stoked for this whole trip. There's a couple of different reasons why, what's going on. But man, just to, just be able to be there. I'm just kind of without words. So, but moving on to football. Let me get the weekend. This was kind of an eventful weekend for football, for the NFL. So we're gonna week 4. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. All right, so a lot of the teams that didn't have wins now have wins, and a lot of the teams that were unbeaten are now beaten. The Jacksonville,
because the Cowboys finally won one.
Well, no. The Cowboys are in first place, man. They've already won a few games. They beat unbeaten Carolina 28-36. But the Jacksonville Jaguars still have not won a game. In fact, they have lost 19 straight games, which is the longest streak since Detroit did it 2007 through 2009. They lost to the Bengals 24-21. The Tennessee Titans, fell victim to the New York Jets. The 0-3 New York Jets, who are now the 1-3 New York Jets, beat them 24-27. The Philadelphia Eagles continue to step on their own toes, can't get out of their own way. Lost to the Chiefs 42-30. As we stated before, the Cowboys beat the previously unbeaten Carolina Panthers 36-28.
Yeah, now they're at number 5.
Oh, and the power rankings?
Yeah. Arizona is still number 1. Rams are 2. Los Angeles Chargers are 3. Or Tampa Bay is at 4. Yeah, it looks like it's still the it's only week 5?
Yeah, we're going into week 5 now.
Yeah.
The previously winless Giants went into New Orleans and actually managed to pull off their first win of the year against the Saints, 27-21. The Browns managed to they're at a respectable 3-1. They beat the Vikings 14-7. The Lions have continued to be winless. They are now 0-4, losing to the Bears 14-24.
And Detroit and Jacksonville's
they're both
fighting
winless.
it off for
they're fighting it out to see who gets that first round pick.
Yeah.
But the Houston Texans are at 1-3. They lost 40-0 against the Buffalo Bills. That's the second largest shutout in franchise history. For Buffalo. The Colts, who were winless, went into Miami and managed to get their first win of the season, 27-17 against the Dolphins. The team formerly known as the Redskins went into Atlanta and beat the Falcons 34-30. The Seahawks, they're sitting at 2-2. They beat the 49ers 28-21. The Cardinals beat the Rams, the undefeated Rams, who now have a loss, 37-20. The Steelers lost again against the Packers, 17-27. The Ravens beat the Broncos 23-17. The big game everybody was watching was the Buccaneers at New England. So this was Tom Brady's first return to Gillette Stadium in New England since leaving the team to go play for Tampa Bay. So it's the first time he's been back, first time he's been there as a visitor. Presented with the opportunity to become only the fourth quarterback in NFL history to beat all 32 teams. It was a really entertaining game to watch. New England did end up losing that game 19-17. And Tom Brady had the ball at the end of the game. He, with time on the clock, drove the team down to field goal range. They had a couple of missteps there and there, but they brought their field goal kicker out and squeaked one through to take the lead back with a few seconds left on the clock. And, Tom Brady got out of there with a victory. It was raining in New England, so it was cold, it was wet. Your stereotypical good football weather. I mean, the only thing missing was the mud, and that's just because Gillette Stadium is a turf field. The Monday night game, I really wanted the Raiders to win. They were previously undefeated. They were 3-0 going into the game on Monday night, and they lost 14-28 against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are a sneaky good team, and that's just mostly because their defense is incredibly stout. I mean, they're fast, they're agile. Their offense is going to figure it out, and their offense is going to get clicking before the end of the season. They're going to be a really dangerous team.
Yeah, but, and also on that though is what Brady did after the game.
Yeah, I mean,
he goes up to Belichick and he just basically gives props, and he's like family. I'm like, man, that's kind of
yeah. I mean,
stop trying to make me cry, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, I mean, because Brady said, "Look, I'm not trying to shed any tears. I did all that before the game started."
He even thanked. Yeah,
I mean, he thanked everybody, and I know that I'm a Tom Brady fan. There's no mistaking that. I've unabashedly made that poignantly clear. But Tom Brady displayed a degree of class that you normally don't see amongst a lot of quarterbacks that return to a stadium where they used to play. And I mean, Tom Brady, he had nothing but good things to say about the team, the city, the area. All of his kids were born there. He loves it there. He's got a lot of friends that he considers family, a lot of players, a lot of coaches that are still there. Josh McDaniel, who's the offensive coordinator for New England, both before and after the game came up to Tom Brady and they hugged it out. And I mean, that was a lot of an emotional pressure for Tom Brady to overcome, because like I said, he spent 20 years He was drafted by the Patriots.
Yeah.
Won 6 out of his 7 Super Bowls there. And, so, I mean, it was just, there was a lot of pressure on him to come in and beat his former team. He managed to pull it off.
This is the first time they actually went out against each other? I think that, no.
No, yeah. This is the first time that Brady has played against the Patriots.
Really?
Yeah. And it's probably going to be one of the very last times that he plays against the Patriots, unless they meet each other in the Super Bowl. Which, with the way that Mac Jones, the quarterback for New England, the way that he's playing, I mean, he's playing good. I mean, and he absolutely stepped up. I mean, if there is such a thing as a moral victory in sports, Mac Jones can kind of walk away with his head held high, because, I mean, here it is. You have this legend whose shoes you're trying to fill come back into your stadium as an opposing quarterback, and your team loses by 2 points. I mean, I think Mac Jones, he threw, let me see here. He was 31 of 40 for 275 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, versus Tom Brady, 22 of 43 for 269 yards. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but he also didn't throw any picks either. Tom Brady actually carried the ball for four times for 3 yards. So he netted a first down on his own, because the play broke down. So he rushed and got the first down. But there was a lot of, a lot of people came to play. Let's see here for the Patriots there. I mean, Leonard Fournette for the Buccaneers, he carried the ball 20 times for 92 yards. He didn't score any touchdowns. He averaged 4.6 yards a carry. Ronald Jones had the 1 rushing touchdown for the Buccaneers. Six carries for 25 yards. But for let's see here now. Like I said, Mac Jones threw for 2 touchdowns. The rushing numbers for Tampa, or for New England on Sunday night, were appalling. I mean, absolutely appalling. You had Nelson Aguilar, 1 carry for 4 yards. So he averaged 4 yards a carry, right?
See, I really don't.
You had two other running backs. You had Brandon Bolden and J.J. Taylor. Both had a carry. Neither one of them netted any yards. Mac Jones had 1 carry for -1 yard, and then Damian Harris had 4 carries for -4 yards. New England had a net rushing total Sunday night of 2 yards.
Jesus.
2 yards.
See, that's more or less the stuff for the fantasy football stuff. I mean, if you look at those numbers, and sometimes I've looked at those numbers, and if you look at those numbers, it's like, oh, did this team lose? It's like, no, they won. Oh. Yeah, I've actually seen.
And if you're looking at it from a pure fantasy standpoint,
those are horrible numbers.
Those are atrocious. And I mean, if you had anybody, I mean, if you had Mac Jones, it kind of came out in the wash, because he did have 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions, so they kind of cancel each other out, depending on what scoring system that your fantasy league is using. But so I mean, neither team, with the exception of maybe. Well, no, I mean, neither team. That just as far as like fantasy points are concerned,
that game was a sham.
It was a wash.
Yeah,
I mean, you might as well have just benched those players and started somebody else in another game. But
if you actually watched the game, it was actually a really good game.
On paper, the game looked boring and dull as hell, but it was an entertaining game to watch.
And it did have a lot because I actually watched that game. It was very emotional.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here.
You
I
felt
have an eating disorder. Apparently, I dropped my caramel on the floor,
it's an
so
airplane
I'll
eating
pick it up here in
disorder.
just a minute. But yeah, because
Next
as
thing
soon
you
as
know,
you and
you're
I get
gonna
off
try
the
to.
air, yeah, as soon as you and I get off the air, I'm gonna go eat dinner. But
As soon as I just want to see you having drinking problem too. Just
but
pour it.
I'll do my best Ted Stryker impersonation later. Okay.
Uh,
Uh, and if you're not old enough to know who Ted Stryker is,
Look on YouTube. It's free on YouTube. You just have to deal with the ads.
actually, I think Airplane is either on,
It's on
I think it's on
Netflix or
Hulu
something.
or Amazon.
You can find it.
Either way, yeah, it's out there. Airplane 2, the sequel. Go into it with very low expectations and be prepared to be entertained.
But the
Surely
game was great.
that I can watch it for free. Yes, you can, and don't call me Shirley. There's my
Yeah.
shot. Okay, so
A couple more minutes.
yeah, a couple more minutes. I really there. I mean, past that, I mean, just base hockey's fixing to start up again. So, I mean, they just finished up their preseason, so the regular season's fixing to start up. There's a new expansion team, the Seattle Kraken. I mean, every time I hear release the Kraken, I'm thinking about somebody in there taking a monster shit. You know, it's like, so we'll
And
see how
I
that.
think about Clash of the Titans, but each your own.
Neeson was known to have released a Kraken or two in his day. I am gonna check out No Time to Die Friday night. I have it because I have T-Mobile for my cell service. They have like this Give Back Tuesdays app or whatever. So I got a code to go see it for $4. So I scored a 3D ticket for $4. I'm gonna go see it at 10:40 on Friday night. So I'm looking forward to that because I mean I really enjoy Daniel Craig as James Bond. So he's my second favorite Bond behind Sean Connery. Usually those people that they like Roger Moore. They need to go
Everybody
get
has their Bond.
Alan a bleach. What?
Everybody has their Bond.
Everybody has their Bond. Yeah. Now for those people that like Timothy Dalton, I don't advocate self-harm, but you might want to try cutting yourself so that way you know what it feels
Was that
like.
the GoldenEye one?
No, that was Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. Okay.
Timothy Dalton was A View to a Kill.
Okay.
And Daylights, yeah.
And that was the God. Was he the one that was on
Timothy Dalton was in Hot Fuzz. He was the guy that owned the grocery store.
Okay, I was making sure that was the one. He was all right.
The Grand Marché. Yeah.
Yeah, he was all right. I wouldn't say he's on the top Bond list.
No, for me, it's Daniel Craig. I mean, it's Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan, then Roger Moore. Timothy Dalton's at the bottom of the fucking list, and that's even the one guy that did the one-off. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. He starred in the one James Bond movie, Her Majesty's Secret Service. Let me do that here. Her Majesty's Secret. So George Lansby.
I want to get a picture because I don't think I've even seen that one.
Yeah, it was the one movie where James Bond gets married in the beginning of the movie, and a hit squad goes after him, and they kill his wife.
God, I didn't even know that was a wow. It doesn't look like a Bond.
Prior acting credits. Yeah, I mean, it was during the making of the film. He was like, "Look, I'm only going to do this one time," because Sean Connery decided to retire from James Bond after filming You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
But he kind of stuck it to the studio when he came back, and he was like, "Hey, I want to do Never Say Never Again."
Diamonds
And
Are Forever.
well, Never Say Never Again was kind of like it was a one-off James Bond movie, and it was the reason why Roger Moore, before up to the day that Roger Moore died, absolutely had no time for Sean Connery, like at all. Like he could not stand him, because Never Say Never Again was released at the same time that Moonraker came out, which is which was, I think it was Roger Moore's first James Bond movie. And Moonraker, while it was a good movie because it had Tanya Roberts as the Bond girl in there, it tanked in the box office because Never Say Never Again was released at the same time, and everybody preferred Sean
How
Connery.
How was it done at the same time? Moonraker was out 1970. You're thinking Octopussy and Never Say Never Again.
Okay,
those are the only ones. Those are the only ones that are the same year.
Something came out the same weekend as Moonraker, and it caused it to tank. Anyways, my timelines are off, but getting back to No Time to Die, I'm absolutely looking forward to this because this is Daniel Craig's last ride as James Bond, and it's gonna be kind of cool to see who that they select to be his predecessor. A lot of people are talking about Tom Holland, or not Tom Holland, Tom Hiddleston. A lot of people are talking about Tom Hardy. A few people are talking about Idris Elba, which I would not mind seeing Idris Elba do that. Or Tom Ellis, the guy that played Lucifer. He's being mentioned.
I think that's just in passing. It would be great. It would be great because he's already technically he's already.
So, but yeah, I would love to see Tom Hardy.
I don't know. I don't want to see the guy that played Lucifer. Just the thinking it is.
It's because I mean,
I would have to. It's one of those things that have to wait until it sees it.
You know, with the exception of the secret agent part, I mean, we've already seen him be a lush. We've already seen him be a womanizer. So we know that he knows how to do that. But you're right.
Just the thought of him's like, well, I know that's him probably overacting and everything like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, because to play James Bond, I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know. It requires a certain degree of kind of
calm and collectiveness,
smokiness. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a Bond-esque qualities. I mean, some guys have it, some guys don't. Idris Elba's got it. I would love. I would not hate on that at all. I mean, I would actually like to see that.
Well, he has a movie that's that was out where he was it was on Netflix. I can't think of the name of it, but he was a cop. And
talking about Luther?
No.
Luther was a great series.
Yeah, Luther was a great series, but it had a lot of comedy in it. This movie, he didn't have that much to do with comedy. But no, he had to help a pickpocket clear his name and his own name. God.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, Tom Hardy, I think would be good. Just because he's kind of got that edginess to him a little bit. Tom Hiddleston's got the sophistication part of the role kind of down. And I mean,
The Take. That's what it's called.
That's right, The Take. Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be kind of a, I don't know. They're almost. I would have to expect the Broccoli Studios to handle the selection of the next James Bond the way that the Vatican handles the selection process for the Pope.
Yeah,
it's going to be secretive, but yeah, and then on top of that, Daniel Craig, he's filming the sequel for he's gonna start filming the sequel
Knives Out.
for Knives Out too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that he pulls off that Southern accent.
It is, well, it's not
Well,
surprising because you got to look at what was that one movie with they robbed the
yeah, they robbed the
NASCAR.
racetrack.
Damn it.
IMDb, here we come. All right.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like Logan Lucky. There we go.
What was it?
Yeah. Where he breaks out of prison.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. If you look at his filmography, there's already been an announced. Oh, so Knives Out 2 is in post-production and a Knives Out 3 has been announced.
Okay, that's weird.
Wow. There's a movie called The Creed of Violence. That sounds pretty neat. Purity, it's a TV series, so episodes 1 and so he's doing 2 episodes on it. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, and a lot of people forget that Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper in episode 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an uncredited.
Logan Lucky. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Logan Lucky.
Joe Bang. Yeah, watching him play Joe Bang was freaking hilarious.
You know, I made it through like the first 15, 20 minutes of that movie. I'm going to have to go back and try to watch it again to give it another fair shake.
It's one it has I think the person that did Ocean's 11 through whatever series.
Yeah.
That was Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, okay. I'll have to go back in and give that another shot then because I enjoyed the first 2 Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12. I did enjoy those. They weren't overly done. They were, you know, the writing was just kind of cool and quirky, but
yeah, well, it's his film. It's his style of directing. I mean, certain directors have a fingerprint. He's one of them. Him and what's his name? Guy Ritchie.
Del Toro.
Benicio del Toro does too. But Guy Ritchie has the same.
Guy Ritchie. Yeah, Guy Ritchie. I was just thinking, I was like, fucking the Wrath of Man. Yeah, it was totally a Guy Ritchie.
The only movie that isn't a Guy Ritchie style that he directed is Aladdin.
Oh, the live action one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about it on Joe Rogan. And he's like, what are you doing next? Aladdin. What? He's like, yeah, I got to pay bills.
Hey, at least you call it for what it is, man.
Because if you look at that movie, it doesn't have any of his fingerprints on it.
Yeah. I mean, he literally phoned that one in.
I mean, watch it. He was probably like
and I refuse to watch it because you just can't replace Robin Williams as the genie. You just can't do it.
No.
But oh yeah. And you know, Quentin Tarantino, his movies obviously have a very distinctive style. He's got fingerprints that are as bright as day. But
and certain movies it's a hit and miss on me with him. I mean,
yeah. But
another person is Robert. No, I can't say Robert Rodriguez has his own fingerprint. He has the only fingerprint that he has is he has his own studio.
Yeah. I mean, so he can basically do whatever he wants.
You can tell it's going to be it's his movie because he uses his own studio to make his movies. So if you see like the Cantina, it's the Cantina That Cantina was in Dust Till Dawn from Alita.
Yeah, Justin Turner just launched a curveball from Adam Wainwright. And in a National League wildcard game is tied at 1 through 4 innings. So yeah.
So I guess we got some other news on for next week for baseball, and I guess that's about it.
Our playoff. Yeah, we're gonna continue our playoff watch. I got a chance to check out Venom over the weekend. Yeah, I know.
Spoilers for people.
Oh, I know. You told me that it was going to be good. I didn't have any doubts that it was going to be good. I just didn't think it was going to be that good.
Yeah.
And that post-credit scene, though, bro, dude.
I told you. All right. Well, I'm David Ickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
And this is Nerd Sports. Have a good weekend.
Red Sox.